I feel very exhausted now and very faint. I feel like I'm gonna faint. So maybe I should just... Hello and welcome back to the channel. Happy New Year. We're on the first video of 2019. And today I want to talk about using my cane in public for the very first time. In case you didn't know, I have chronic pain and I get fatigued a lot, very lightheaded. I feel faint all the time now. And for the longest time, I did not have a cane, but now I do. And this is my cane. It's a Veeb. I don't know. It's turquoise. It's kind of glittery. And my friend Annie Elaney sent me a link on Amazon to this. And it folds, which will come into play later when I talk about this. Also, before we get any further, I do have a written article about this topic. So if you want to go read that, I will have it linked down below. And if you want to consider it, follow me on Medium because I'm trying to write more this year. Again. So I've been dealing with a lot of pain for a very long time, and I always just kind of try to push myself through it. I never got a cane, I never got a wheelchair. That's going to be a future video though, by the way. And I always felt like I wasn't disabled enough to have a cane and use it because I'm someone who can get by with errands, say like if I'm just going to Target or going grocery shopping, I'm usually fine enough and, you know, it doesn't really take me a long time. But if I'm going out to events or, say, you know, the time my boyfriend and I went to New York City for his birthday, kind of both our birthdays, you know, I was in a lot of pain. I wanted to cry. My feet hurt so bad. And it's horrible. And going to airports and having to stand for a long period of time in line, it's horrible for someone like me. And when we were in Philly, actually, my boyfriend and I, during my visit, during Halloween week, I finally decided I was going to bite the bullet, suck it up, listen to myself, stop telling myself that I'm not disabled enough, and I was gonna get a cane. And here we are. When I first got it, I used it once, and I kind of used it in public, but not really. I used this going up and down the stairs because I had a really bad lightheaded episode, and I was like, okay, I need to go get food or whatever at Walmart, so I was going to take this from here down the stairs into my car, and I told myself I was going to use it at Walmart, but I kind of got a little bit scared, so I didn't use it at Walmart, and I kind of felt a little bit better as well. But for Christmas, I was gonna go visit my boyfriend for Christmas for New Year's, and I was flying out on December 23rd, which I assumed was going to be a very busy day at the airport. So I told myself I'm bringing my cane, and also we were going to go to Philly for a concert for New Year's, so I needed something. So let's talk about my experience with this thing. So my very first experience with this in public was I stopped at the gas station on the way to the airport to go to the bathroom and maybe get a little coffee because I was very, very tired. And it wasn't too bad. I think I got 1 or 2 looks, but nobody said anything. So that was nice. Then I get to the airport, and that's when the fun starts. So imagine having a big suitcase, 1 carry-on, and also a cane. So what I had to do was I had to fold this up and put it in my hoodie pocket, my front hoodie pocket, and use my 2 suitcases as sort of a cane, which was okay because, you know, it's still something to hold on to. Check in, if I needed to sit down or lean on something, I have my suitcases. My suitcase gets checked, it's dropped off. So then I go to stand in line, and it was a little bit of a long line, not too bad. I felt sorry for everybody in Southwest because that line was so long. But I did have to stand around for a little bit, and I did use my cane to lean on. It was a great experience because not only was I dealing with a little bit of fatigue, I also had still have a very impacted toenail, and my shoulders were in so much pain, so trying to stand on my foot and walk with it was just, it hurt so bad. So this really helped me keep my balance and just not fall over for being so tired, and also so hot. Airports make me sweat. They make me feel just really hot and like I'm gonna pass out. I don't like it. So it was a mixture of sitting on my suitcase or my carry-on and also holding on to my cane. And I know that there are canes that you can sit on. I know Stevie Bobby has one. I think Annie also has one. Haven't gotten it yet, but I am considering it. But for now, this works just fine. I didn't have any issues getting through TSA. I did tell Annie I was very nervous about that because, one, I'm already deaf, and that already makes it a pain in the ass to get through TSA because they want to talk to me, and sometimes if I'm getting pulled over, you know, I can't understand them, and they keep on talking regardless, and it's annoying. But I folded it up. I put it in, actually, my carry-on because I was trying to listen any sort of conversation, and it went through, no problem. And then I learned very quickly that having a carry-on, having a cane, and having a coffee do not mix. Because I'm trying to hold my coffee, I'm trying to hold my carry-on, and I'm also trying to use my cane as some sort of support. But that doesn't work, so I had to fold my cane up, put it in my pocket, and just kind of deal with it. And my carry-on was also a little bit heavy because I had my filming equipment, which I didn't even use, and it was just so painful. I did get a couple of looks from people, but I think they were more of just kind of, oh, that's a cane, okay, cool, whatever, and looked away. I haven't experienced any sort of, like, why do you have a cane looks, you know, the kind where able people tend to look at the young disabled people and think, you're too young to have that, you don't need that I know a couple of my friends experienced. Thankfully, I didn't really have that. Maybe I did, but I didn't notice it. So, when I got to the gate, I had my cane out at some points, and when we were all standing to get in line to get into the plane, I was in group 6, so I was sitting on my carry-on, also holding my cane, kind of going back and forth between the two, standing up, sitting down. And you might be asking, why are you getting up? You're not even group 1 and 2 and whatever, because the entire terminal was so crowded, the gates were crowded, and you just kind of had to go with whatever, because there were no seats and nobody wanted to give up their seat for me, and I was too scared to ask. And speaking of asking for things, I kind of hoped in my head that maybe somebody at the gate would see me, or somebody at the check-in would see me and maybe offer me a wheelchair or something. Although at the same time, I was really scared to accept it. Because people are going to look at me and think, you don't really need that. Like, why? You're not elderly and whatever. Because people don't understand. People think that only disabled, or no, people think that, or tend to think that only elderly people can be disabled. You know, nobody thinks that the young-looking people can be disabled. And that gets really frustrating. No offers, but, you know, I did at least somewhat managed to get onto the plane all right and hold up my carry-on, which was really heavy, and I almost dropped it, but I got it into the overhead bin. However, I did have my cane folded up into my front hoodie pocket, and it threatened to unfold, which would have been so annoying, because that just means I would have to, like, hold up the line by trying to get it out and fold it back up and whatnot. This did come with a rubber band thing, but I think I threw it away because I couldn't get it back on after I took it off, so I should just get like a regular rubber band or something for it, really. And what I did was I put this in my seat pocket in front of me because I didn't think it would fit in my little backpack, which it does, but I can't close it all the way because it's too tall, even folded up. But I had it in my front seat pocket, and it kind of wanted to unfold itself, but it wasn't too bad, so it wasn't gonna risk like hitting my seat neighbor, thankfully. But it did unfold while we were all trying to get off the plane. I took it out, put it in my front hoodie pocket again, and I held up the line because it unfolded, and just like, I think these three were completely straight, and then this was still sort of folded, I think. something like that. And so I had to get it out of my hoodie pocket, which took forever because it kept getting stuck because it was all over the place. And then also maneuver my carry-on and get this back in there. And it was slightly embarrassing, and I just kind of wanted to hide, and I almost hated having this for a second. But at the end of the day, it was fine. I got out of the plane. So this is a very helpful accessibility tool. I have no regrets buying it. And I do plan on taking it with me to every single airport trip. Now, remember when I said I also got this because we were going to go to a concert in Philly? I forgot to bring it. We were sort of rushed, and we were going to drive down to his dad's, and I forgot this in my hotel room. And what I did not realize was that the concert was a standing concert. There were seats, but they were taken. And, well, I didn't have my cane with me, so who's going to really believe that, hi, I need a seat? Thankfully, it was raining, so Will did bring his umbrella, so it was kind of like an emergency cane that's not really a cane, so I did get to use that to lean against whenever I really needed it. But, yeah, the next time we go to any concert, I'm bringing this just in case, and I need to remember, and Will, you need to remind me. I don't want to be in pain again. Especially since we were walking to the train station after the concert, and the amount of times that I slipped, even when wearing sneakers, thankfully I did not fall, but I slipped a lot, and I think this would have helped. I also have a very, very big fear of getting out of a subway or a train and getting onto the platform, because often there's a big space in between, and I am very scared that I will slip and fall in it, and having something like this to kind of hold on to something makes me feel a little bit better, but also it's just so helpful for disabled, chronically pained, and fatigued people. So yeah, my advice to you is if you are like me, you deal with a lot of chronic pain, fatigue, and you might be a little bit embarrassed about having a cane. I understand, because I was the exact same way. And there's still a little bit of that kind of fear or internalized ableism, if you will, embarrassment. But at the end of the day, the fact that this helped me even just a little bit made it all worth it. And I think you should consider getting one of these. And if you want this one, because it can be a little more compact, you can fold it and whatnot, I will have a link down below in the description box. So if you want this particular one, there you go. So, to my fellow disabled people, let me know if you use a cane, how long did it take you to get a cane, what kind you have, and, your experiences of using your cane in public for the first time. I am very, very curious. And again, I wrote an article about my experience, and I will link that down below so you can take a read and maybe follow me on Medium. As always, I very much appreciate you watching, and I will see you later. Bye.